Welcome to the Luxury Listing Specialist Podcast with Michael LaFido, where top luxury agents reveal their best practices, plus interviews with real estate industry influencers, thought leaders, and luxury marketing experts. You'll come away from each episode with new strategies and tactics to dominate high-end homes in any market. And now for the latest episode of Luxury Listing Specialist. Here's your host, luxury real estate expert, coach, and trainer, Michael LaFido.
Welcome, everybody. Michael LaFido. Welcome to another episode of the Luxury Listing Specialist podcast, along with Luxury Fridays. We're filming this on a Friday. We're really excited to bring on a couple guests. But before I do so, again, you are in the right place if you're looking to work smarter, not harder. If you're looking to increase your average sale price, as many people know, there's a lot of downward pressure right now. The opposite of downward pressure is a tailwind. A tailwind is when consumer confidence is really high, interest rates are really low. We're kind of going into the slower market, right? Typically the holidays, things slow down a little bit. And right now there's a lot of downward pressure because the Fed has increased the Fed fund rate by 0.75 basis points for 3 consecutive months. Some people are saying we're going into, or we are already into, a recession. But that is the doom and gloom side of things. We're very positive here on Luxury Specialist Podcast and on our Luxury Fridays. We do believe life is what drives real estate, right? Somebody's getting married. Unfortunately, somebody's getting divorced. Somebody got a job promotion and they're relocating. Somebody's downsizing, and life is what drives real estate. Those of you that are listening in on our Instagram, don't forget you can always go to our podcast website, which is Luxury Listing Podcast, Luxury Listing Podcast. It's a great place for you to listen to previous episodes, luxurylistingpodcast.com. And for those of you that are interested in our live streams where you can jump on and ask guests questions, go to luxuryfridays.com, luxuryfridays.com. And we're really excited. We just got done with our 5th live in-person luxury designation training just in 2022 alone. And we just announced our 6th in-person training for 2022. It's going to be November 15th. The Houston Association of Realtors is hosting it. It's open to all agents of all brands, of all brokerages. So fly on down to Houston if you want to work smarter, not harder, and get your in-person luxury designation training. Thanks to sponsors, it's really discounted, and we're throwing in a bunch of items, bonus items. You can join me live in Houston on November 15th. Go to luxurydesignation.com. As always, if you're getting value from our podcast, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Stitcher, or of course, iTunes. All right, I'm going to bring my guest on here. I got 2 guests. Sometimes we have 1 guest, and today we have 2 guests, and I'm really excited to bring both Emmitt and Tamara Combs on today. They're out of Florida, and I had the good fortune of meeting them. And most recently, they had a luxury event in a 17,000 square foot mansion. They had top agents from their brokerage. They have offices both in Georgia and Florida, and they literally rented out this mansion, and they had me do a full day training there. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. And Tamara, tell everybody about how long did you rent this mansion for? It was literally an incredible property.
Yes, so we rented a mansion in Reunion, specifically in Reunion, in Orlando, and the mansion was rented for a total of 4 days and 3 nights. So we basically hosted our agents who are all over the state of Florida and also Georgia as well for a 4-day retreat, just simply focused on luxury. And we covered different topics. We had the opportunity to definitely present some of the luxury opportunities, the market. We had a full day of training. So again, 4 days, 3 nights, and it was an awesome experience for our entire team.
So 3 nights, 4 days. Sorry, I just had to check on technical. Pam says she can't hear us, but now she can. All right, Pam, you scared me there. So I'm glad you can hear us. Don't don't if you guys have a question, please let us know. But I'm glad you can hear Tamara. So 4 days, 3 nights. And today we're going to be talking, and I'm going to ask Emmitt a question here in a second. But today we're really covering two things with our special guest. Number one is they run their own brokerage, and they had me down in August at this amazing mansion that she just described. And in that training, like literally, they did some team building activities. They did a lot of fun things. This house had a bowling alley, indoor basketball hoop. But the thing that I wanted to bring to your attention that are listening to this podcast, watching this, is two things. Number one, this wasn't their first event. So tell everybody about your first event last year. I know you've had other events, but your big first event where you brought in a guest speaker. And Emmitt, tell everybody what the thought behind rewarding your top agents was, and how they got the invite, who was invited, was it for everybody or was it a limited number, and what your thought process was on rewarding your top agents by having like an event based, which I think was brilliant.
Okay. Thank you again, Mike, for having us on the show. Just our thought process behind the whole retreat part is it's just about, creating the environment, building confidence, right? Giving real life experience. Most times agents don't believe in achieving a certain type of success or selling a certain type of luxury real estate because they don't spend enough time in these types of homes, right? They don't know the details. A lot of them, probably can't afford, never sold any of them. And it's about creating the right environment, giving the exposure, giving details so they can have more confidence, be more educated about the home itself. Last year when we had our first luxury retreat, the thought was, our brokerage was built on, just really educating, motivating, inspiring, and leading new agents to accomplish their goals, no matter where they started, whether they brand new, and just creating the bridge to the success, right? And to generating the results that they desire. And so the first couple of years of our brokerage, we was able to really build the foundation of a lot of the agents, who started with us from the very beginning, and the ones who stuck around, who are still with us and growing and just thriving. We wanted to not have a limit, being that we were a small brokerage, at least starting out. We didn't want to have a ceiling to where we could grow and where our agents could grow with us. And so we wanted to continue to lead from the front. So we wanted to continue to inspire them to elevate their business to new levels, grow their income to new levels. Sometimes it's not about, making more sales. Sometimes it's about increasing your sales price. And so we wanted to open that door, right, and put them in the right environment. I felt the best way to teach agents that they could get into the luxury market and they could be very successful there. It was about putting them in a luxury environment for a couple of days and allow them to experience what it's like to live there. We had the pleasure of bringing the builder out, the one who actually built the home. And so he gave a lot of detailed insights on the one we stayed in last year. And I felt that it was an amazing experience. Was able to bring some other, people out and speak and give their insight on how they tap into the luxury market. And so I think it was just a great motivation builder, and I think it gave a lot of insight to new agents or agents who are doing well, just never really tapped into the luxury or didn't think it was for them. It gave them the confidence for sure. And, we was able to give them the experience. They were able to live there, ask more detailed questions and just, I know leaving the conference, like leaving the retreat last year, we had 3 of the biggest production months of our career of having the brokerage. So I seen what it looked like on the back end, what it did for inspiring and motivating. So I knew it's something that we had to continue to build up on. And so, we're really big on adding value to the agents for sure. And so, it's about, bringing the right people in, right, to being able to talk to them to where they can relate, and they can take the information, digest it and apply it. And so that brought us to this year and what we want to do here. We want to continue to add different elements. And of course,
And by the way, I have on the screen here the class picture, right? So we have the class picture outside the mansion, and I'll show some other photos, but go ahead, Emmitt. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, no problem. Yes. Beautiful picture. So that picture was, we was outside after the class, outside on the back, it doesn't really show the whole picture, but there was a whole, lazy river in the back of the home. It's just a great experience for them here this year. Last year we had a lot of good training, a lot of different, elements to the training, but this year we wanted to add that real impact value, which we thank Mike for coming out and being able to deliver that, because now they was able to take their real estate career to another level by enhancing their luxury exposure, getting the Lux designation. And so I felt like it was just a perfect add value, a value add element to a luxury retreat, which they're staying in this over 17,000 square foot home, has a bowling alley, basketball court, lazy river, has everything you could possibly dream of if you're talking about, wanting to acquire a luxury home. But it gave them the exposure more so than anything. And we want, we're really big about lifestyle within our brokerage, but more so than lifestyle, we're really big on education. So that was a perfect element to be able to add the education with the exposure in that environment. So it was great. It was great. We
Well,
really thank you for coming out.
You mentioned, within the productive months after your first retreat, right? So this was the second one, the productive months.
Yes.
You saw agents more confident, maybe stepping out of their comfort zone. I say it all the time: grow your knowledge, and your confidence will grow. So you saw firsthand at the first retreat, they had the builder, the developer. They felt a little bit more comfortable being around a big home with amazing product and quality. And this time around, you mentioned very similar. So on the screen, you guys see the class picture there. There's a picture of me doing some training. This is the family room, if you will. You guys had it laid out perfectly. It was a really cool setting. And you guys had banners of your various agents up, which I thought was really cool. They probably love seeing their face and their name. And, maybe they could use those for their own events they do. The agents got video books that got the designation. Was this Randolph? Is this his name?
Yes.
Yes, it's RJ Randolph. Yes.
RJ. Yeah, RJ was, I role played a lot, and RJ was the one that he role played a lot with me, if you recall. And that was great. RJ was a great guest. And then here we have both Emmitt and Tamara holding up some luxury swag. So that was a lot of fun. So I really appreciate what you guys did there. And, we had, going back to that class picture, let me pull that up. You got such a great diverse group of agents. I posted the class picture on my LinkedIn, and a young lady that has gone through one of my trainings before said she was so excited to see the diversity in luxury, which I do believe there is a lack thereof. And that's one of my missions. So I commend you guys, you and Tamara and the rest of your staff, on investing in your agents. Literally, I've done some really cool trainings before, but this by far was the best venue where a brokerage had it for their agents as a reward. And so I know it wasn't cheap. So I really wanted to say, hey, let's get you guys on our podcast. Let's talk about this, because, a lot of brokers, especially in a shifting economy, they cut back on their agents, right? And then their agents don't feel appreciated. They don't feel loved. They don't feel like they're getting the training they want. So, kudos to both of you for, investing back in your agents.
Oh, thank you, Mike. One thing I wanted to add, I know you mentioned about the criterion, who could be available to come, and for us is we don't eliminate anybody. We don't eliminate anybody because we want everybody to know that you're welcome. It's just all about what you put your mind to and how you believe in yourself and your confidence, right? I know beginning of this year, which was coming out of our retreat from last year, I mean, we have some first-time agents, right? Their first deals were multi-million-dollar deals, and so we take. I want to say we want to credit the retreat for allowing the agents to believe in themselves, to be able to acquire clientele in a higher end market, and just knowing how to navigate that, and knowing how to you don't have to have all the experience, but as long as you have access to the right resources and you know how to reach out and ask for help. Alongside of that, we always talking about being ready, always being ready, and preparing yourself ahead of time so you never have to get ready. So I think that with the retreat, it helps the agents get prepared for opportunities, so therefore they can take advantage of them, and they know how to navigate the new construction, whether it's the resources for, your mortgage lenders with the jumbo loans, whether it's educating, solving the problems for the financing, getting them approved, right? Or we all run into roadblocks. We all run into hiccups when it comes to finance or even cash deals and trying to source income and so forth. It's about, having a proper education on how to navigate and help people through those troubles and helping them realize, what their buying capacity could be, or solving issues, solving problems financially. So now the consumers have more buyer confidence in going in and buying a luxury property, knowing that, they've created some cash flow, passive income. And so it's not always about, their working capital. It's about, what the passive income was able to help them do. So it's a lot of different elements that go into working with high-end clients. And I just think that, when you equip a team with the proper resources, right, they feel more confident taking these buyer consultations for luxury clients and to be able to guide them and knowing that they have a team in place that they can plug and play. They can plug their team into their resources, or plug their clients into their resources, and their team represents where they're going as well. And so therefore, it all connects the dots and it helps them become very powerful, and confident agents.
Well, I couldn't have said it better. So that Emmitt, you're exactly right. Right. If you're more confident, you get more hungry. You step out of your comfort zone more. You might do some lead gen, some prospecting, some networking in those price points and those zip codes you've never sold before. And I see agents come out of their shell after coming through trainings all the time. So I commend you for that. Again, you're listening to Michael LaFido here, episode 212 of our podcast, Luxury Listing Specials Podcast. It's on iTunes. Thank you so much for listening. Episode 212. I got both Emmitt and Tamara Combs here with Combs Premier Realty. Again, I want to ask Tamara a question now. Tamara, tell me a little bit about, within your brokerage, and I have the URL up right now for everybody to see. They can check it out. It's a gorgeous website, by the way, combspremier.com. Within your brokerage, and you kind of touched upon this already, but a lot of major franchises, the big ones, they don't offer training and support with luxury. They might have a different logo, maybe a different sign, but you guys, obviously, you invest in your agents. For you and Emmitt and your company's philosophy, tell us why you do invest in having training and support when it comes to those luxury clientele. Now, Florida, there's a lot of upper price point homes, so it might just be, hey, they're in our backyard. But why did you guys, and when did you start shifting? Say, you know what, we want to service everybody, but let's make sure we have the support and the branding for luxury.
Right. So a couple things, what we've noticed is, number one is the opportunity, right? So the opportunity for us as a team and for a brokerage was to leverage the fact that there was a gap, number one, and number two, we wanted to focus on growing our luxury division and also our luxury sales as a whole. So, after we witnessed and we understood that opportunity, we decided that we needed to go out and figure out what resources we needed to better educate our team about the luxury market and how we can do that. So simply just based on that one big opportunity that we've noticed within the past couple years, for us, we like to think big, we like to do big, and we like to dream big. So we just figured out, how can we execute against that, right?
That's great.
So we took a shift in our focus, and that shift was to create an event and create the experience that would provide that for our team and also for the brokerage as well. So as Emmitt had mentioned, I mean, it's definitely opened up a lot of doors for us. Even for the first event that we did, we did notice an increase in our sales for the last three months of the year, last year, shortly right after the event. Not to mention, I know we like to talk about confidence builder and what the event has done for our team. We've had a couple agents that have went back out to the property to do, luxury listing showcases where within that one specific community, we've had agents that went out and filmed at the multi-million-dollar property that they never thought that they would be able to film at. So, I mean, again, it's just understanding that opportunity and then understanding how to tap into that and just how to execute against it. To be honest with you, it wasn't I guess you can say like a cookie cutter route for us to take as far as how we wanted to execute against what we found to be an opportunity. But we just figured out ways to kind of navigate and try to figure out, okay, how to tap in, how to, execute and how to move forward with that.
So thank you. Very thorough explanation. Have you guys noticed, and I'll bring Emmitt back on here. Have you guys noticed your average sale price as a company increase over the last, 12 to 18 months from having events and investing back in your agents?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the increase in sales price, but I think when you put agents on a platform like that, and we sort of educate them along the way. And so it's a different experience with agents who see what we're doing on a day to day and how we're able to create these opportunities, because they see things on the ground level, and it gives them the confidence that, like, okay, this is achievable for anybody. It's about having a goal, reverse engineering, bringing in the proper resources. And when you do that, for one, we like to let them know that, look, all eyes are on us, right? We're creating an event for your experience and your education, but while we're creating this motivation, or while we're creating this movement, like, all eyes are on us. So you need to utilize this moment that we have a lot going on in the luxury realm. We're doing a lot of things here. You need to reciprocate that by being able to put out things that project where you want to be in line with what we're doing right now. So all it does is it sparks the interest of clients, right? It sparks the interest of clients, and also it brings attention to them. And so the ones that really want to get into the luxury, they gravitate to the training, what we're doing leading up to the retreat. Right. And so then after we start seeing a different type of clientele, and we teach them, about understanding how they know that they're growing their database, how they know that they're increasing their income, because we make them appraise their database, right? Give a lump sum of appraisal of their database. And then once they start seeing the value of their database starting to increase, then they know that the potential outcome of them leveraging and getting into the luxury market is starting to go up. So, it's just about who they're communicating with on a daily, how they're adding higher net worth individuals into their database. And it also about, doing the things that attract higher net worth individuals. And so all of this, anybody in the high end market, they want to deal with educated individuals who can add value to them.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
most luxury don't want you to be the first, the first transaction in the luxury market for them. But in most cases, even if there are the first, if they know you've taken appropriate steps to educating yourself, you're putting yourself in different environments. Now that opens up the door for you,
Yeah.
for people to give you an opportunity, because they know that you're equipping yourself with the right tools to be able to help. And in most cases, you can use that to your advantage. And I know you spoke about this at the retreat, but you're not bogged down with a lot of different clients. You can give somebody their undivided attention and really add value to them. And I think a lot of the agents who have been able to capitalize and use this retreat as a momentum builder, a lead generator, and also eventually closing on the first $1 million deal, like, they've been able to take that and then utilize that to be able to engage and turn leads into transactions. So it's been a phenomenal process to be able to see. And, I think that, again, as the agents start to utilize the process as a lead generator, right, and be in line with where we're going, then they're able to reciprocate the benefit of what we're doing even before they receive the education. So, like, a lot of times people look for instant gratification, but in most
Right.
cases, it's a delayed gratification process, and you have to keep building and working towards your overall goal.
They're looking for this, aren't they?
Yes, they're looking for the easy route.
Everybody's looking for
That was easy.
the easy button, but it doesn't happen overnight, does it, Emmitt?
No, sir. No,
You know, a
sir.
couple things
Never
I
happened
want to
overnight.
circle back with. First off, I want to share. I mentioned their website earlier, but this is their website. Gorgeous website. Again, combspremier.com. Just a not just a good looking website, but simple. You know, talking about lifestyle. Uh, you know, there's a lot of big buttons that's mobile friendly. Uh, and who's that good looking couple right there? I think I know them. Uh, so just you know, they got the team, they got the Orlando team on here, the Miami team, now serving Atlanta. Uh, so again, you got video. So just a really good looking website. I want to commend you on that. You know, one of the things I
Thank you.
talk about is a fresh eyes analysis. So, you know, you guys have a great website, buyers, sellers, search, contact. You got some swag, just like, you know, we got some luxury specialist gear too. See it on the bottom of the screen right now. We got swag just like you guys do. So hey, I love that. Now, one thing that you brought up, and I'll bring Tamara back in a second, but one thing that you brought up was you challenge your agents. You challenge your agents to look at the value of their database. Talk to me a little bit about that. So let's keep it simple. You got 100 people in your database, past clients,
Hmm.
current clients, maybe just people you're close with if you're a new agent and you don't have any past clients. Tell me how you value your database.
Well, what it does, it breaks down your simple day process. And when you value your database, that's really appraising your database, right? Looking at the net worth of individuals in your database and who you're talking to on a daily. Because if you want to increase your revenue, if you want to increase your price points, if you want to really get into the luxury, then you need to really monitor your daily conversations and who you engage with on a daily. And so when you focus on that, you change your activities, you change where you are, because now you're starting to be places intentionally because you have to be there to meet people. And sometimes we build our day and our activities around our comfort zones. So we avoid a lot of places that intimidate us. We avoid going to, you know, invites or going places where, you know, it may challenge us, right? So we may actually meet somebody who wants to buy a multi-million-dollar place. And a lot of times in our mind, and I'm speaking for agents who have probably never sold a luxury property, or never worked with luxury clients, but it's like we know where we need to go, but we obviously don't be in the right place at the right time, or we don't put ourselves in a position to create those relations. But when you start focusing on your database and the value of your database, and if you know that, okay, if your average database is between 3 to 500,000, now you know, okay, if I'm going to increase my database, my first question is, where do I meet higher net worth individuals, or who in my database have influence, right, to high net worth individuals? So then you start doing things differently. So therefore, you start putting yourself in position to where your names are being spoken in rooms that you have not entered yet, or you're invited to places that you need to be at because you've been speaking, right? You've been speaking where you want to go in real estate, or you've been showcasing where you want to go in real estate. So now people know that you need to be there in order for you to continue to build. And as you appraise your database, you start to look at people differently, your conversations differently, and you make it intentional, right? To get on the phone with people, to create the relationships, to increase the value of your database, even if it's by one person, right? So you say, if I want to sell a million dollar property, I don't have any million-dollar net worth individuals in my database. So when you start to meet those, you start, you put them, of course, in your A list database, and you start working those leads differently. You start building a business model around those individuals in your database to be able to create the results you want in a higher net worth led database. But it takes focusing on that database and understanding the value, and you're right, and then you start building a business model around those individuals, and then your daily activity is going to be different as well, because you're going to be intentionally going places and putting yourself in the position to continue to bring more people in your database that matches where you want to be price point wise.
So I love that. So we teach agents to segment their database, right? A, B, C,
Hmm.
right? The A
Yep.
clientele, not by necessary price point, but you have a great relationship. They're more likely to give you a referral. They're, you know,
Hmm.
they're well connected. You know, the B are really good clients, maybe not going to give referrals as much just because they're more introverts or that's not their style.
Hmm.
The C clients is everybody else, if you will. But you're talking
Yep.
about appraising your database to another level as well. In other words, what's the price point of the home that they're in, right? And or and that's a unique angle that I haven't heard before. So I like that. That's why I wanted to come back to that. So really good. See, hey, I'm like a sponge, man. I'm learning too. I love that. So that was really
So
cool.
so look, to add to that, let me clarify, right? Because a lot of times we take, when I say appraise your database, you think, oh, you only need to be on the phone with people who are going to buy $1 million property. That's not so. It's about understanding the value of the people in your database and what connection and relations they have. So if I say an A-list buyer for me and I'm really trying to elevate into the luxury, then I always tell agents, well, you need to be on the phone with one person who's a multi-millionaire, who has a multi-million-dollar database. And so sometimes, it's just about establishing new relationships with people who are already elevating and executing at the level. Maybe they're not the clientele of your liking or your fitting, but they
Mhm.
have the influence to the clientele of your liking and fitting. So therefore, they're valuable to your database, right? And so it's very important to build relationships and understand who you talk on or who you spend. I always tell agents as well, appraise the last 3 people who you talked on the phone with, right? That did not have any connections to your business. And so when you start to praise those last 3 people, then you start to understand where you're going. Because if these people are not, are not elevating at the level that you want to be with, and I always say like vibrating on a high frequency, then you're not going to elevate to that level
Yeah.
either. So you have to make sure that you're getting on the phone with people, who's going to change your mindset of things, who's going to, give you feedback, encourage you, not going to, when you give ideas, they give reasons how you can, really excel those ideas to another level, right? You have to have people who in your circle that you're communicating with that's elevating your thoughts, your ideas, and mindsets, and then you'll start to realize that more and more people who you're being connected with have a higher net worth, whether it's personally or a higher net worth database that you can leverage. And so understanding how to leverage those people is not always about taking, right? It's about being able to find out how to add value to those people. So therefore, it's a genuine relationship.
Great point. That's a great point. And I'm going to get Tamara on here to add to that. I have on the screen real quick an amazing $10.5 million home that I represented some time ago, and that was a referral from a guy that worked at the health club, and he borrowed my box truck when they had to move equipment, and if probably lives in a $350 to $400,000 home, but he referred me a $10.5 million client. So just like Emmitt says, you treat everybody the same, you bring value to them, because you just don't know where your next deal is going to come. So great point, Emmitt.
Yeah.
I'm bringing Tamara back on. Tamara, anything you'd like to add to that, or anything you'd like to add to what are you guys teaching your agents to add more high net worth individuals to their database?
Well, I know moving forward, since the recent trainings and just looking at a couple of the modules that you have presented to us, I know moving forward, we have a group of agents that are going to be working on actually creating the opportunity for a network marketing or a network group.
Yep.
Focus on the high-end individuals and to really like hone in on working with high net worth individuals to eventually build the luxury market for each agent individually who wants to take the time to invest in themselves, and then who wants to elevate the luxury market coming out of the recent retreat. So I know that that's something big for us, and it's a big takeaway, and it's also a follow-up on our end to make sure that these thoughts and these big ideas that are coming out of the retreat are actually executed with our team. So I mean that's some of the big takeaways, kind of leaving out. Typically, when we have any type of event or we present an opportunity to the team, we also like to focus on, okay, what did we do and how to get better, and not only how to get better, but how can we execute better for the next year as well. So those are some other key elements that we're looking at as far as like for next year, how to get better with the retreat, how to get better with the training, how to add on top of what we've already, had as a basis or a foundation for the past 2 years.
Well, that's a great answer, and I like that you're taking something that you've learned and you're putting it into action, right? action. Tony Robbins talks about that, right? We all have the same type of potential, but when you take action, you'll get the results. If you get the results, your confidence builds, and then
Right.
you'll take more action. It's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? And you know, it's you struck out 8 times in a row baseball, and you say, man, ninth at bat, I'm going to strike out again, or it's you've been struggling at golf, but you hit that good shot and you see some results, and you're rejuvenated, right? So building others up, giving them hope. Uh, Out of curiosity, I'd love to. What was your big takeaway from either the training that you had me present at or in our designation going through the materials afterwards?
I think, well, there's actually a couple, but the first biggest one, I know for myself and for our team structure, we're really big on marketing our properties. So it was more so like a confirmation or affirmation when it comes to how to better market. You know, I know one of the key things that stuck out to me is ABM, right? Always be marketing. So when I think about the luxury properties that we have for the brokerage, what the key takeaway is how to market, you know, how to get better with marketing, you know, how to think outside of the box, how to be more creative with, you know, the marketing videos, how we, you know, list, you know, our properties and how we get better with that. So that was one of the key takeaways for myself. And then we're also, again, going to be ensuring that we do the follow-up process with our agents that do have these multi-million-dollar properties to make sure that they're properly marketing and, you know, also marketing themselves while they're doing that as well.
Great. Well, thanks. And I'm going to ask Emmitt the same question. Emmitt, bringing you back on. What was one of the
Mhm.
big takeaways that you had from the retreat in the $17 million mansion that you guys had me come speak in, or perhaps, you know, just the designation that you've logged in and gone through some of the materials? You got a big takeaway or two that stands out?
Yeah, from the retreat for sure. It's just I know about some of the personal examples that you gave with some of the newer agent that you was working with, just about going live, putting itself in a position, being consistent, right? Being consistent with what you want to focus on. I know that was really big for me because just you see a lot of the agents, they start something, they don't see the immediate benefit, and then they maybe lose momentum, lose focus, or they go and do something else because they feel like it's not for them, but they didn't stay consistent with it. And I know one of the examples and one of the things you talked about for us, you know, going live at the different luxury properties for the open houses. And, you know, and one big thing outside of that is, you know, the agents understanding that relationships are important in the luxury. It's a small community and relationships are important. So you don't want to be on a lonely island thinking that you have to build, you know, this business or, you know, sell this luxury property on your own. It's about establishing, you know, the relationships within that environment, right? And so we all come together and help each other sell the properties because without each other, you know, there is going to be a slim market in a tough time. So, you know, your team expands beyond yourself. And I think that's very important for the consistency and understanding, you know, that, you know, it's a community and we work together to get the job done.
Yeah, there's strength in numbers, being there supportive, you know. And so Tamara and Emmett, I have on the screen right now, this is straight from Tony Robbins, right? I mean, I literally
Hmm.
I taught this model when I was a high school a high school physical education teacher at Glenbard South High School. I taught this in 2011, literally, uh, 2009. My last day teaching was March 19th of 2010. So in 2009, the fall of 2009, 13 years ago, I brought my PE class together into the auditorium. We watched this video with Tony Robbins and John Reese and a guy by the name of Frank Kern. And he talks about this cycle. We all have the same potential, but
Hmm.
if you take action, right, just like after the conference, if you take action, you start to see the results. If you see the results, you start to believe that, you know what, I can do this. And then
Hmm.
you have even more potential and you think bigger and you take more actions and you see the results. And it's like I said, it's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? And so
Yep.
I do believe what you focus on expands. And you talked about having that network, having that network is really key. So your agents know that they can count on you, they can count on Tamara, and that's really big. Uh, so I wanted to just share that with you guys. And I got my regular watching from Naples. I got Mark Benson. Mark, thank you, Mark with Keller Williams. He's a big supporter. I brought on Aziz earlier. He said great information, Tamara, and great information, Emmitt. And I got Harry Cherry. Got Harry Cherry. Come on out to Houston, Harry. We'd love to have you out in Houston. And again, Houston is coming up. Houston, we do not have a problem. We're going to be really excited down in Houston, and I'm going to share with you what that looks like, guys. Houston, we're going to be down there in 52 days and 22 hours. You can go to luxurydesignation.com, luxurydesignation.com. We're really excited to be going down to Houston. Literally, you guys can go to luxurydesignation.com. 52 days away. Looking forward to that. All right. Bring Tamara back on. Tamara, let me stop sharing for a second. Tamara, Emmitt,
So
any other things that you would like to share with the audience to inspire?
yes.
Maybe something to somebody that is in the diversity. You know, they're from a background. They're women. They're Black. They're Hispanic. Maybe there's not a lot of luxury agents in their office, or maybe they have some limiting beliefs. Anything from a limiting belief standpoint that, you know what, you too can do it. You know, that's something I love, inspiring others and proving others wrong. I'm going to take myself off this screen so we can see both Tamara and Emmitt. Any words of advice for anybody that's struggling mentally that says, you know what, I'm Italian, I'm Irish, I'm a female, I'm young, I'm old, I'm white, I'm Black, I'm Hispanic, I'm from the LGBT community, I come from blue collar. What words of advice would you have for them?
If I can share just my thoughts, I would say there's always going to be limiting beliefs. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be room for opportunity, to grow. I would say to stop, stop right there, then and there, and just kind of figure out, what you're trying to accomplish, right? What you're trying to accomplish, write those goals down, what you're trying to accomplish. And then the second part of it is just go out and execute. Nobody is responsible for, the results that you can produce, but yourself. Right. So those are the key three things that I would say. And I know for us as a brokerage, I mean, yeah, we definitely have had our share of challenges in this market, here in Florida as a whole. But guess what? We overlook the challenges, and we find ways to persevere through the opposition, to persevere through the adversity. So the tunnel, it can be dark at times, but there's always going to be light at the end of that tunnel. So just find a way to get in, be headstrong, and then, don't look back. So that's just my thoughts and just words, full transparency.
Love it. Love it. How about yourself, Emmitt?
For me, first and foremost, it's about leverage. Leverage. Leverage other people's properties, leverage other people's connections, leverage other people's database. Believe in yourself. I think vision boards are really big and very important, because I think the more you see yourself, or you visualize yourself executing at a certain level, you then believe it, and you unintentionally or intentionally start to organize your day and activities around what you visualize for yourself accomplishing and achieving. And I think those things organically fall in line once you start to believe it in yourself, because you start seeing things differently, and you start look for opportunities to leverage, whether it's other people's properties. You start being more confident and asking exactly for what you want, because in a world where you've never been in, the luxury real estate, you're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of doors closed on you, but you got to know exactly what you want, and you got to be, bold enough and confident enough to ask for exactly what you want, and be determined to acquire that. Whether, no matter how many closed doors you got to go to, there's going to be a door to open for you. You have to keep asking for it.
That's great advice. Leverage, belief, keep plugging through. Who you surround yourself with, there's always going to be negative people around you. I call them negative Nicks, negative Nancys, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you hang out with 9 overproducing agents that get the most out of their talent, you're bound to be the 10th. I can't say it enough. I want to thank my mom on this live stream. Mom was right. She knew if I hung out with bad apples, it would be a negative influence on me, right? Same thing. If you hang out with good people, they're going to pull you up. So with that being said, Emmitt and Tamara, thank you so much. Combs Premier down in Florida, down in Georgia. Check them out. If you got referrals, highly recommend them. Just first class individuals. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Again, Michael LaFido, you're listening to our 212th podcast today. Again, just great people. Really honored to have met them and to have me come down and train their agents. Again, keep raising the bar. Surround yourself with others. Invest in yourself. You should be joining these various diversity groups, right? Again, I'm a part of NAREB. I'm a Realtist agent. I'm a part of NAREP, which they're having their conference end of September as I'm filming this. I'm a part of the LGBTQ Alliance. I spoke at their conference the past 2 years. I'm a member of ARIA. Okay, I go to Women's Council Realtors events. Again, network. Okay, your net worth equals your network, and your network also equals your net worth, right? They both hand in hand. Okay, so surround yourself with people. Emmitt brought up a term that I had heard of before, talking about basically getting an appraisal of your database, not just segmenting, because we teach that, but putting, you hate to say, a value on your database and each person. But what he says is treat everybody equal, but also, you know, if you want to increase your average sale price, you got to touch the people that they have a larger network, and maybe their net worth contacts are a little bit larger. So really good points there. Again, I'm your host, Michael LaFido. If you're getting value from today, if you're getting value from this show, please leave us a like, leave us a 5-star review if we've earned it. Again, I'm your host, Michael LaFido. Until next time, you're listening to another Luxury Listing Specials podcast, Luxury Fridays, and we greatly appreciate our audience, appreciate our guest. Until next time, guys, make it a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.